Thousands of volunteers went to the Pentagon to help in the aftermath of the attack.
Some brought donations of food or money. Others had words of comfort or a listening ear. Adam Murphy spent time with one of those volunteers.
Michael and Dolores, Lieutenant Colonel Pace cared for several burn patients while working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day in Washington. He's a Fort Jackson soldier, chaplain, and lieutenant colonel who responded to the call of duty during a time of tragedy.
In some respects, it seems like it was forever ago, almost like it was surrealistic. But on the other hand, it was like it was yesterday.
Chaplain Art Pace will never forget what happened at the Pentagon. The lieutenant colonel counseled victims and their families following the terrorist attack.
We had one of my patients who was severely burned. He was on fire as a result of the fireball. And as he was burning, he just prayed and he said, "Lord, take me down, don't let me suffer." And as soon as he prayed that, the sprinklers, he happened to be standing under a sprinkler, and it went off, doused him, and he received no further burns.
Chaplain Pace remembers these remarkable stories of faith and how the events of 9/11 changed the lives of Americans forever.
Here he was, a big man, his wife was there with him, and he starts to cry, to weep, to actually weep. And he said, "Chaplain, before this happened, I had no time for God, but now I believe in God because I've seen His miracles and I've met His angels."
Tragically, 189 people died in the Pentagon attack. Amazingly, hundreds more survived.
It's easy to be focusing upon the lives that were lost, and well, we should grieve that. But also recognize how many lives were not lost. And I believe that's because of the hand of God.
There are so many memories and mementos from that day, but Lieutenant Colonel Pace is constantly reminded of one inspirational story.
When he was done, the president went to the foot of the bed, and he stares at this patient who's a lieutenant colonel. And then the president raises his hand and salutes this lieutenant colonel. Now, normally, of course, a lieutenant colonel would salute his commander-in-chief, but in this case, the commander-in-chief saluted the lieutenant colonel and would not drop the salute. The patient realized what was going on, and he began to cry, and he raised up his right arm, I would guess about 16 inches, as high as he could raise it, and dropped it. By then, the president was crying too. The president dropped his salute and went to the next patient.
Some struggled to recover during the past year, while others found strength.
I got to see God in the midst of all of this, in the faces of the people I worked with. And I know for a fact that He was there.
Life goes on for Chaplain Pace and other Americans, but one thing is certain: September 11th changed everything.
Chaplain Pace believes the best thing that we can do to move forward as a nation is to continue to work, live, and be good citizens, and most importantly, follow our hopes and dreams.
All right, sounds like Chaplain Pace went there to help others, but his life was blessed in an amazing way as well.
Changed.
Certainly was. Thanks, Adam. Touching.